Hi, everybody. I'm Aranza from the Merida English Library. Welcome. I believe that we are live right now. It appears so. Here with me is Dr. Thomas Gonzalez, who will open the lecture series season with his lecture about habanero peppers. But before he starts with his lecture, I kind of want to tell you about what's going on at the library. What we're working on right now, we have some limited services, but we are open. We are open offering curbside pickup. So check our catalog online, submit an order. You can give us a call, send us an email. We'll get it ready and you can pick it up from Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also have a virtual auction going on right now. So check our website and our Facebook page to see how you can bid on items. We have 9 wonderful items that, community members have donated. They're amazing. And today we're very happy to start our lecture series season. And I'd like to pass the microphone on to Dr. Thomas, who, by the way, he used to be the director at CC. He has a very extensive knowledge and he studied his PhD at the University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada. So I cannot think of a better person to talk about this topic. I hope you enjoy this lecture. And if you'd like to make a donation, please go to our website, meridaenglishlibrary.com. There's a PayPal button to donate. You don't need to have a PayPal account. You only need to have a credit card. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you enjoy. So now I'm going to leave you with Dr. Gonzalez. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, here we are. I will take out my mask to make easier. And okay, good morning. And this is Thomas Gonzalez speaking from the Center of Scientific Research of Yucatan. It's an honor to me to be here. This is going to be the first lecture of this series 2021 of MEL. Thank you. And before getting started, I would like to thank Aranza for his introduction, and particularly to Bob Hertig for this invitation. Today's presentation is habanero pepper, tears, fears, and flavors. And why I decided about this topic? Well, habanero is iconic. It's a very important crop in this region of the south of Mexico. And it's an important ingredient of the local food, Yucatecan food. Habanero pepper, as you can see in the first slide, is an important crop. It's cultivated in the open, as you can see in one of these small pictures, but it's also grown under protected condition in greenhouses. Traditionally, it's sold in the small markets by vendedoras, Mayan sellers, but it's also an important source of raw material for industry. A couple of companies are industrializing and exporting this habanero pepper powder. About the origin of habanero pepper, well, actually the technical name of habanero pepper is Capsicum chinense, and is native to South America. Many people think that this originally domesticated or was originally domesticated in the Yucatan Peninsula, and is not. Comes from South America, what is now the north of Brazil, the area of Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and the wild relative of habanero pepper is a very small pepper, which looks like chiltepin. You can see on the screen this roundish, yellowish.
Sorry, doctor. It seems like the presentation is not showing.
It's not showing?
Reason. Let me.
Okay.
Let's just. I think. Okay.
There it
I
is.
think, yeah, I think we have it
Here
now.
we go. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Aranza. As I was mentioning, habanero pepper comes from South America, from the tropical region of the north of South America continent, which is mainly known as the north of Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. On the right hand side, there is a picture of the wild habanero pepper, and it's kind of round fruit, and is pretty much similar as the chiltepin with this roundish shape. And what it makes it different is not only the pungency, but the smell of habanero pepper. If you open one of those fruits, you open up one of these fruits, you will feel this fruity-like smell. And from this little round fruit, domesticated by the ancestors of these kids that you can see on the screens, mainly from the tribes, Arawakan tribes, and there is a list of many of those tribes in South America. They were the farmers that domesticated habanero pepper. So it's not native to the Yucatan Peninsula. So how was dispersed from South America up to the Yucatan Peninsula? There are some archaeological evidence that 6,500 years ago was cultivated in Peru, and then migrations of Arawakan tribes colonized the Caribbean islands, and that happened about 250 to 1,000 years before Christ, or Annum Domini. And the first written evidence of these peppers in the Caribbean comes from Christopher Columbus in 1492. And the most important evidence, written evidence, comes from Bartolomé de las Casas, who was a priest during the colonial time in 1526. He describes three types of peppers in what is now Dominican Republic, used to be La Española island. And he mentioned three shapes of pepper, one with a finger shape like, another which is a small one eaten by birds, and a third one is like a very pungent, a very hot pepper with a globe, like a little heart-shaped form. So we guess that he was talking about the ancestor of the habaneros. How and when the habanero pepper arrived to the Yucatan Peninsula, we don't know. We just suspect that was something about maybe 300 or 400 years ago. And that's the only pepper cultivar in the region without a Mayan name. There are like 6 or 7 cultivars or varieties of hot peppers in the area. And the only one with a Spanish name is habanero. Usually the word habanero relates to Havana, Cuba. And in the colony, many items coming from Cuba used to have the name habanero, like rum is popularly known as habanero rum. Cigars are also named habaneros, and that's why we guess or we suspect that it came from Cuba, but we don't have evidence about it. So if we look at the shapes, colors, sizes, and of Capsicum chinense, there is a huge variation. You can see in the pictures different sizes and colors and shapes, and all of them belong to the same species. And the picture at the bottom of the slide are mainly those cultivated in the Yucatan Peninsula. You can see a green light, a dark green, orange, red, and the chocolate one. That's the way they call it, chocolate, because it's a purple brown color. All of them are very pungent. However, sometimes you can get some mutants with very low or non-pungency at all. So this picture is just to illustrate the genetic variation of Capsicum chinense that nowadays is cultivated in the Yucatan Peninsula. You can see all the different colors, all the different patterns of ripening of the fruits, and of course, the flavor and pungency also varies. So just to have a quick look of how the fruit of habanero pepper looks like inside. This is on the left side of the screen. You can see a cross section of an habanero pepper showing the anatomy of the fruit. You can see this spongy-like tissue, a little bit cream white, named placenta, which is the tissue where the seeds are set. You can see some of the seeds. The pericarp, which is what we call in vernacular terms, flesh, fruit flesh. And there is a tissue that divides the inside of the fruit. We call it septum. On the right-hand side, you can see cross sections of different type of fruits, showing the cavities or the different locules. So you may find in the field fruits with 2 locules, 3 locules, 4 locules, 5, 6, or even 8 locules. The typical habanero fruit, which is commercialized in the market, is and is preferred by consumers, is the 3 locule. So all the other ones are accepted, but are not. They don't get a premium price in the market. Just a close-up of the placental tissue of habanero. You can see this like a sponge-like tissue on the left-hand side panel, and on the right-hand side you can see like a honey liquid on the surface of the cells of this small sponge. That is the pungent compound. The little formula that you can see, this formula is the capsaicin formula, which is, we will talk a little bit in more detail about this. But if you cut across a pepper, a fresh pepper, and wait like half a minute, you will see how these spongy cells segregate this honey-like liquids. That's the pungent compound of hot peppers. And this takes us to the chemistry of habanero pepper capsaicins, and in general, all the hot peppers, all the chili peppers contain this family of compounds named CAPSAICINOIDS. And there is an index, like a scale, to define how hot is a pepper, a hot pepper. And let's have a quick look of this family of molecules, capsaicinoids. On the right-hand side, you can see what we can call it, we may call it a family of molecules. All of them share something which is quite unusual in chemistry or natural products. All of them derive from vanillin. That's something that people sometimes doesn't know. Capsaicinoid, which is quite pungent, quite hot, comes from this molecule of vanillin, which is a cyclic ring of 6 carbons. And what it makes different vanillin from capsaicinoids is this little tail. We call it carbon tail, which is like a small chain of carbon compounds. And depending on the length and the position of the carbon tail, you may have capsaicin, dihydrocapsaicin, homodihydrocapsaicin, nordihydrocapsaicin, etc. It's a family of 12 to 13 molecules that when you eat a hot pepper, a chili pepper, they are all together, and what you feel is all of them. Some are present in a higher concentration, and it's mainly the molecule of capsaicin and dihydrocapsaicin. From that, there is a sort of competence on a world level. Every country, every farmer wants to have the hottest pepper on earth. And in this competition, non-formal competition, in the last 10 years, several different crops were developed. And on this picture, on the figure on the right side, you can see the Scoville heat units. And if you go from the bottom of this picture to the top, you increase the level of pungency. If you have like pure capsaicin, you are talking about 15 million of Scoville unit. If you go to the very bottom with a sweet bell pepper, you have 0, you have non-capsaicin. And somewhere on the top, you will see habanero, which is somewhere between 200,000 to 350. You may find habaneros which are close to the 1 million Scoville units. So those of the cultivars Jolokia, including the Carolina Reaper, are one of the hottest peppers on earth. However, those which are very, very hot are mainly used for industry purposes. For food industry, don't forget, it's not just pungency, but also flavor and smell. I mean, you don't, for cooking and chips and all food industry, you want to have a flavor, a smell, and of course, some level of pungency. So how hot a chili pepper could be? It depends. It depends if you feel it or not. Some species don't feel at all pungency, and this little lizard having a feast of peppers, and those little birds, including this green parrot, you know, having a nice breakfast of hot pepper, and they just are delighted eating peppers because they don't have the receptors, they don't feel those molecules of capsaicinoids. So on the left side, there is a portrait of a book named Mammalian Transient Receptor Potential Cation Channels. So those transient receptor potential channels are the key to feel. As mammals, we only mammals feel pungency. So all the reptiles and birds that don't have those receptors, they can eat as much pepper as they want and the hottest pepper, and they will be very happy. So they don't feel it. That's basically the response of how hot a pepper could get. It depends on the species, right? So how it works, this trip B1, as we know, the transient receptor potential vanilloid, or trip V1, in all the cells of mammals, you will have on the cell membrane a small protein, and it is called this trip V1. And the way as it works is that the molecule of capsaicin or all the other capsaicins bind this protein, and it works as a receptor, the protein of the capsaicin molecules. And when it binds the protein that expands the cell membrane opens the channel. And many ions get into the cell inner, so the interior part of the cell, and creates a cascade of signals that activate some response to the next cell. So pretty much is the way as it works. And those the trip B1 just happen to be the same protein, transmembrane protein, that we use as mammals to perceive heat. And that's pretty important because when you eat a hot chili pepper, like habanero pepper, somehow eventually your body starts sweating. And what it happens is that you are activating the same receptor, the same protein as you sense heat. So that's why you sweat a lot. The message that your cells in your body are receiving is that it's hot. So you gotta cool down your body, and that's why you start sweating. So this TRPV1 receptor protein is very important because it's somehow it also works as a way to desynthesize some cells. So if you add it in a controlled manner, you have an anesthetic response of your cells. So that's why it is used as a topic or a local anesthetic for rheumatic ailments. So it's a very interesting family of compounds. There are, in the last decade, the last 10, 15 years, many people have been doing basic research on the way as this molecule is perceived by our body, by our cells. So when you try or you bite a hot pepper and your brain receive the signal and say, wow, this is hot. What is happening is that the cells of your tongue and your mouth perceive these molecules, perceive capsaicin, and the signal goes through your nerve cells, sending this cascade of molecule or signal transduction cascade, and eventually gets into your brain and tells you, wow, this is hot, start sweating and stop eating it. Unless you are already like familiar with eating hot stuff. Eventually you create some sort of, well, I forgot the word. Some sort of resistance, yeah, some sort of resistance to pungency. Anyway, in addition to being hot, there are some beneficial effects of this family of compounds, of capsaicin. It increases lipolysis, which is degradation of lipids. It decreases the deposition of foam cells in the vessels, in the blood vessels. It induces the relaxation of blood vessels, increases insulin level, and also decreases the adipogenesis, so the creation of fat in your blood tissue. Somehow they have very beneficial cardiometabolic effects and help to decrease all these sort of diseases. Of course, is something that it depends on the person, right? Mm-hmm. So in that sense, capsaicin is becoming from a hot fear compound or a hot fear molecule is becoming a therapeutic model. So several books showing results of research are available, talking about capsaicin as source of food, medical uses, and health implication, capsaicin as therapeutic molecule, and capsaicin and his human therapeutic development. So it's quite interesting, this family of compounds. Okay, if we have all these marvelous effects on the human body of capsaicin, what happens if you don't have enough capsaicin? So in order to make a use of it, you need huge amounts of these molecules. And then it comes the oleoresin of capsicum. So in general, all the hot peppers, all the hot chili peppers contain capsaicinoids. So you can extract capsaicinoids with a solvent and you get this dark red liquid that you can see on the screen. The main suppliers worldwide of this oleoresin are India and mainland China. They are providing huge amount of capsicum oleoresin, including habanero or other cultivars of pepper, annum, mainly Capsicum annum. So what are the main uses of capsaicin? For the defense industry, nowadays is used as a personal defense product. There are some sprays. They are also used by police for, in demonstration. And there are some new application as a defense against animals like bears or wolf, or in general, wild animals. And that's pretty much what is used for defense, for the defense industry. The main use of capsaicinoids, in addition to defense and health, is food industry. So there are so many salsas, hot salsas in the market, mainly US. You will find a huge variety of salsas. Europe is becoming fashion, but not as fashionable as in US or perhaps in Latin America or Africa. In addition to salsa, you have chips, many sorts of potato chips with different levels of pungency, different brands. Those who started the potato chip industry with habanero pepper is a company from Japan, which is named Tohato. Tohato in the 90s was looking for a supplier of habanero powder, and they came over to Yucatan because they read in the Guinness book that at that time, we are talking about 20, 30 years ago, habanero was the hottest pepper in the market. So they were looking for a supplier. So a local company started to industrialize, to dehydrate habanero. And they created this fry chips mixed with onion and many other ingredients. And they have a very interesting marketing strategy. So they produce low pungency potato chips for boys, for girls, for elder people, for people in their middle age. So they have all sorts of chips seasoned with habanero powder. So you may get snacks like Doritos or dips. There are many, many products. Seasoning sauces for barbecue and meat in general. Sweets with sweet hot brittle,s pralines, gummies, chocolates. For chocolates with habanero, there is a huge variation in different countries, in US, in Mexico, in Europe, in Germany, well, etc. It's becoming fashion. This takes us to the origin of using habanero as an ingredient for the local Yucatecan food. And when you talk about Yucatecan food, it's pretty much seasoned with habanero. I mean, Yucatecan food without habanero is not Yucatecan food. So it's part of the gastronomic culture of this region. So all of the dishes are seasoned with some sort of habanero pepper, fresh, in salsa, roast, in many different ways. However, perhaps the most important, the root tradition of habanero consumption is Cochinita pibil. So every weekend on Saturday and mainly on Sunday, almost everywhere in the city, in Mérida, you will see cochiniteros at the corner of the street selling with this baguette-like, we call it bread, we call it francés, and tacos of cochinita on the street with all this contamination, bacteria, whatever they have, but you add some habanero and it tastes delicious. At least for local ones, it's a tradition. I guess it's more important than going to church on Sunday. So Sunday breakfast is cochinita pibil. So you can see in these pictures, people, you know, having a feast of cochinita. For those of you interested in recipes where you can try habanero, there are some excellent books written by Dave DeWitt from, I think he's from New Mexico, if I remember well. But Dave is a wonderful fan of habanero. So he wrote this habanero cookbook. Then that was in 1995. Then he did this second book, the Habanero Pantry, and there is a recent one, which is the chili pepper global history. So you will find that in Amazon and many other places in the net, in internet. I have the opportunity to collaborate with the Colin Powell School of Civic and Global Leadership at the City College of New York, and we did a market study of habanero, fresh and industrialized in North America and Europe and Mexico. So we edited these four books, and recently we have this book. Or the last 4 books and this one, the Habanero Breeding, are written in Spanish. You can download it in the PDF version. They are for free. Unfortunately, they are in Spanish, and this is more on the breeding side of habanero pepper. And I think that's pretty much what I wanted to mention to you. I hope you enjoy a couple of new things about habanero, about the origin, on how we perceive capsaicinoids, and well, if you are brave enough to try hot habanero pepper, you are in the right city, in the right place. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. I was wondering if we could share your contact information for viewers with questions if they come up later.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This has been a very interesting lecture. Next week, Dr. Marina Aguirre will be back with a new lecture. This one will be posted at 7 p.m. on our Facebook page. But for now, thanks everybody for watching. Remember, you can make a donation if you go to our website. And if you need to renew or get a new membership, you can get in contact with us so that you can visit us and maybe get some books. We have some really good books on Mexican cuisine, and I'm sure that we have some books here in our collection about habanero peppers. So thanks everybody for watching. We're gonna end the live stream now. And if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll get you Dr. Gonzalez's contact information. Okay. So,
my email is in the first.
Okay.
TG,
so, all right.
TGE. @CICY.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Very good. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.